This is Mr. Grice for Algebra 1, Chapter 6.4 Notes. Today we're talking about solving compound inequalities involving the word and. Our learning target today is to be able to solve compound inequalities involving and. So, let's get started. Writing compound inequalities. Write the verbal sentence that describes the inequality, then graph the compound. Okay, so there's two different things that we're going to be doing here. Okay, now, first thing we have to do is to write a sentence. So before we write a sentence, we have to understand exactly what this thing is saying, because there are two inequalities in there. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to rewrite these to better understand them. Okay, we're going to put x first on both of them, and one of them will have the -5, and the other is going to have the 1. Okay, so looking at the -5 and the x, which way is, or who is the Pac-Man eating? Okay, if you got to draw the little guy right there, he's eating the x. And then when we look at going the other direction, it's eating the 1. Okay, so what this is saying is x is greater than -5 and x is less than 1. Okay, so there's our inequality. Now we actually have to graph it. So at -5, it's open, at 1, we're open, and it wants everything that's in the middle. Okay? Let's do another one. So we're going to rewrite these. We already know the y and the 5. Pac-Man is eating the y. So y is greater than or equal to 3. And y is less than 5. Okay, so let's graph this. At 3, it's closed. And then at 5, it's open, and we want everything in between. Okay? So remember, just look to see which ways Pac-Man is eating, who's he eating. And then when you rewrite it, just make sure he's doing the same thing. Okay? Because we're not changing anything right now. All right, for this one, we have to write the inequality. Okay. So the first thing that we're going to do is write the numbers. We're at -3. We need an x, and then we need a 4. Okay. So at here we're open. So x and -3, x and 4. So x is greater, because it's going this direction, greater than -3, but it's less than 4. Okay? So when we rewrite that, just keep your inequalities going the same. It's eating the x, so just make sure that you are still eating the x. Now, is one of those closed? Now that I relook at this? Yeah, okay. At 4, it's closed, so it's going to have the inequality less than or equal to. Okay? Why don't you pause real quick and try number 4. Okay, so there are the answers. We wrote our two inequalities. Here's our first one. X is greater than -6 because it's going in that direction. And then y is less than 1. And we want everything in the green, so where they're combined. So we get -6 less than or equal to x less than 1. Okay, now let's deal with solving. So solve and graph the compound inequality. Be sure to write your final answer in numerical order. So it's always from the lowest to the highest. Okay. How do you get the x by itself? Well, we have to subtract 1. And what we do to one side, we have to do to all of them. So -7 less than x less than 2. So at -7, we're open. At 2, we're open. And then with these, we're going to shade everything in the middle. All right, number 6. To get the y by itself, we have to add 5 to everything. We get 5 less than or equal to y less than 6. So at 5, we are closed. And at 6, you're open. And then you just shade in between. So far, everything is the same as what we're doing. It's just instead of shading the outsides, now we're shading the insides. Okay, to get the a by itself, we have to divide everything by 2. -3 less than a less than 1. Do we have to flip the signs? No, because we did not divide by a negative. Okay, so at -3, we're open, and at 1, we're open. And then we just shade the middle. Okay. All right, number 8. It's b divided by 2. To get rid of division, you have to multiply. Okay, so you should get -2 less than or equal to b less than or equal to 0. At -2, we're closed. And at 0, we're closed. And then just shade the middle. Okay, number 9. To get the m by itself, we have to divide. And we're dividing by -3. Okay, so when you divide by a negative, we have to flip the signs. 0 divided by -3 is 0, and 9 divided by -3 is -3. Okay, but now we have to write these in numerical order. Okay, we have to have the -3 first, the m, and then the 0. And pay attention to which way your symbols are going. Okay, you can't change an inequality symbol. It's between the m and the -3, it's eating the m, so I have to make sure that it stays eating the m. Okay, see how that's the same? And even over here, it's eating the 0, it's eating the 0. Okay, so you have to be consistent with how it looks. And now graphing, -3, we're closed. At 0, we're open. And then we shade the middle. Okay, now to get rid of a fraction, we need to remember that we need to multiply by the reciprocal. And when you do that, you get +6, n, and -4. We multiplied by negative, so we have to flip the signs. And then after we flip the sign, we have to rewrite that. And then just like we talked about, make sure your inequalities are doing the same thing. Okay? Right here, we're eating the n. We're still eating the n. Okay? Eating the 6, eating the 6. Okay? So we passed. Going through and graphing it, at -4, we are closed. At 6, we are closed. and then we shade everything in the middle. Okay, now solving compound inequalities. Anytime we're solving, we need to solve following the rules of SADMAP. Okay, everything's the same thing. Get rid of the addition first. You get negative 3, 3x, and then 9. To get the x by itself, you divide by 3. And you get negative 1 less than x less than 3. You do not divide by negative, so those symbols stay the same. Okay, negative 1, you're open. 3, you're open. And we got a shade in the middle. All right, number 12. We get rid of the addition first by subtracting. Negative 8 less than or equal to negative 2y less than negative 4. To get the y by itself, we have to divide by negative 2. You just divided by negative, so we flip the signs. And you get 4 and 2. Now, is that a numerical order? Hopefully you're all saying no. Okay? And then just make sure your signs are the same. So at 2, we're opened. At 4, we're closed. And then we shade in the middle. All right, number 13, go ahead and pause the video and let's see how you do. Okay, and there's your final answer. Remember that you divided by a negative, so you should flip. So our final answer, negative 4, we're closed. Negative 2, we're open. Oh, that's negative 1. Negative 2, and then we shade in the middle. All right, number 14, go ahead on your own. Pause the video, please. Okay, so first you subtract the 4 to both sides. Multiply everything by 2. We multiplied by a positive number, so we do not flip the sides. So once we get to this point right here, that's our answer, and then we can go straight into the graph. Okay? All right. Let's do 15 together. We'll do 15 and 16 together, and then the last two will be on your own. Okay? So, same thing. Let's get solving for m. We have to be careful with our signs. Okay, we have to divide everything by 3. It's a positive number, so we are not switching the signs. It's in order, so then we can go straight to the graph. Negative 3, we're closed at 4, and then we shade the middle. All right, number 16, a little bit of work here. Before we solve this, we actually have to distribute. So everything on the outside stays the same. And we only distribute to the center. Okay? But now we have to solve for n, so we're going to subtract 6 to everything. And we get negative 4 less than or equal to negative 4n less than 22 minus 6 is 16. To get the 4 by itself, we have to, or the n by itself, we have to divide everything by a negative 4, which means we have to change those signs right away. We get 1, n, and -4. That's not in proper order. So -4, less than n, less than or equal to 1. Okay? And then from there, we graph. So we're open at -4, we are closed at 1, and then we shade everything in the middle. All right, 17 or 18 are all yours. Go ahead and pause the video and see how you do. Okay, and there you go. For number 17, you did not divide by negatives, so as soon as you solve everything, you're left with your answer, -2 less than c less than 3. And then number 18, you did divide by a negative, so after you flip the signs, make sure to rewrite it so it's a numerical order. So the -2 first and then the 1. Okay? Well, that's going to be it for Algebra 1, Chapter 6.4 notes. As always, if you have any questions, please come see Ms. Carranza or myself. We would love to help you out. Thanks for watching, guys.